Well, hello everyone. I'm back again, and today this is our learning skills video series. And today we're going to talk about intelligence. I think that this is very important for us to understand because a lot of us think that we either are intelligent or we are not intelligent. So, what is intelligence? How do we view it? Um, is it one factor? Can we influence intelligence? Can some things about us impact on our intelligence and hold us back from performing at school? So that's why I thought I'd like to just bring in just this thought about intelligence. You know, very often the way the school system is designed, it's geared in a certain way for certain skills, which are highly necessary, but they're not the beginning and the end of what we need in life, or perhaps where our natural talents lie. So just because we don't excel in one particular field, unfortunately, many people will then assume that they are stupid or lack intelligence. So that's why I thought it's important. Let's just explore what intelligence is. Now, the good news or the bad, well, the good news is they say 3% of the population are mentally retarded. So that's in the minority. So I'm presuming we're not in that category. Then about 2% of the population fall into the specially gifted category. And well, I'm just presuming for the sake of whatever that we're in the middle. You and I are somewhere, we've been in mainstream schooling, you're in mainstream schooling, so you haven't got a medical certificate to say that you are retarded or mentally disabled in any way. So that cuts out all the excuses saying I'm stupid. Right, so let's look at what intelligence is. I'm going to read it to you. Right, it says intelligence, it's humans' global ability to conduct themselves competently in different situations by means of understanding, acquiring knowledge, by reasoning, making judgments, being able to memorize, and develop practical skills. And most importantly, it's to learn from experience. We know how futile it is if we keep doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same results. It's literally not a sign of intelligence. So let's just look at that again. It's our ability using different factors like understanding information, being able to acquire knowledge, being able to reason on things, being able to remember, and practical skills and learning from experience. So that is basically what intelligence is. And it's not just one factor. So there's not just one brain structure that deals with intelligence, because you get spatial visualization. You know, there's so much literature. Let me backtrack. There's so much literature on intelligence and studies and research. So this little video clip is not meant to be anything other than just to give us a little bit of insight into what intelligence is. But what they often think is that it's not one factor. It includes a spatial visualization. Without spatial visualization, you wouldn't be able to play sport. You'd be clumsy. So we need spatial visualization to be able to visualize our environment, where we are, understand maps, that kind of thing. We need numerical ability. Okay, we need perceptual speed, which means how fast can we think? And verbal comprehension, whether it's what we read or what we hear. So those are all the different components that need to come together that give us a certain intelligence. You can see why schools have certain subjects to develop one's visual, spatial visualization, numerical ability, perceptual speed, being able to be fast in processing information, and verbal comprehension. So those are skills we need. And don't get stuck on the fact that it might be a stupid subject. Nobody cares if it's a stupid subject. The fact is, it is developing these particular skills. I mean, when we learn to read and write, we learn the most ridiculous thoughts and sentences, like the cat ate the dog and the dog ran up the tree. Not very inspiring stories. But the fact is, it's enabling us to read and to develop these skills. Okay. So, our cognitive or thinking abilities and our intelligence, they're a sum total of what we inherit. So, inheritance does play a part. Okay. But it doesn't, on its own, it's not the full predictor of how intelligent we will be. It also depends on learning, on training, and on experience. So one's social environment needs to support our growth and our development of our intelligence. So it's incredibly important the context in which we actually work. What I found extremely interesting, because I always thought that intelligent people would go one way, right to the top. But it actually doesn't work that way. And I was very interested when I studied psychology to learn how there are different things that impact on our intelligence and can hold us back. For example, our motivation levels. If we're not motivated, it's going to hold us back from developing our intelligence. If we have emotional difficulties, that can also impact on our intelligence. And the one I find particularly interesting is one's personality. I always wondered why some people succeed and other people, and you notice that in schooling, there are some that are brilliant, but they actually never achieve their potential. And one of the reasons is personality. I read a book years ago where this also made sense. It spoke about 4 different personalities. And the one personality was called a sanguine. Now, these are your party guys. They're interested in everything. So the problem with them is they're highly sociable, but they tend never to achieve their full potential because they're always jumping on to the next thing. So they never focus long enough in a particular subject or endeavor. And I love the way they said, these are the people that are always swinging on a star, bringing moonbeams home in a jar. So they're wonderful people. And we need those people. And we all love those people. But it just shows that how a person's interests and personality can hold one back in the sense of achievement. So I think that is something that's very interesting to state. What was my next thought now? My next thought was, there's such a thing called metacognition. So we all think we have cognitive factors, we think. But humans have this amazing ability. Animals don't have it. They just know what they know, but they don't analyze themselves. We as humans can almost get outside our heads and we can examine ourselves. So we can judge, I'm not managing this subject well. I haven't got a good grasp of it. So metacognition is almost a superior sense of how we control our thinking. So that's what it says. It's metacognition we can use to enhance our learning. We control our thought processes. We evaluate what we're learning or how well we know something. So we as humans, can you see, it's all about taking charge and doing things intentionally, not just allowing them to passively exist. What I also found interesting is that genetically, I said there was a genetic component to intelligence. They say the range of potential. So genetically, there might be an upper limit, but there's this huge range for us to develop and to grow. And that doesn't come by just doing nothing and sitting on the couch. That happens when we actively engage with life and experiences and learn and train and take control of our cognitive abilities. So it's all about control and intention. You know, we said there that training and experiences and learning are what develop our intelligence. And unless you and I put ourselves into different circumstances, try different things, look at different things, we might miss what our true talent really is. I'd like to just briefly tell you, in my first video, I did say that I started studying late in my life, in my 40s. I was a secretary for 20 years. And I really just wanted a challenge. And I started studying a degree through UNISA. And my husband said to me, why are you studying at this stage of your life? I said, I don't know, but I want to be ready if an opportunity presents itself. Well, I discovered my one subject I started BCom, but my one subject was the maths, and I seriously don't like maths. And my other subject was psychology in the workplace, and I discovered that I loved psychology. So one thing led to another, and one of my assignments early on in the studies asked me to, because I did, one subject was HIV/AIDS, and they said, go and see what's available for AIDS education. And I went and I looked at some places that were there for HIV/AIDS education and counseling, and I was horrified. And in that minute, I knew what I would put up on those walls. And I since discovered that I have a creativity to design educational materials. Now, the point of the conversation is as if I didn't study, I would never have found that out. I was a secretary for 20 years. I had no idea that I was creative in any regard. And I can't draw a stick man. So I thought because I'm not artistically inclined to draw, that I just decided that I wasn't creative. Meantime, I do have a creative ability to design educational materials. And the last 17 years, I've opened up my own company, been able to design educational materials for corporate companies, government departments, the education department. I even won a business award for the Businesswomen's Association for a board game on life skills that I was able to design. So discovering that part of me only came about once I was busy studying and I opened myself up to that. Then I was able to discover that. So, we all have different talents. And there's one, where is my piece of paper here? There is one author, researcher, his name's Howard Gardner. He says that there are 8 different intelligences. So we get linguistic intelligence, language. That's, where we read, we write, we understand the spoken word. So some people are very good at that. It's a special kind of intelligence. We get logical, mathematical intelligence. Okay, that's solving maths problems, logical reasoning. Now, we all have a certain amount of logic, but we might not specialize in maths. I certainly don't. Spatial intelligence, finding your way around. Being able to see what fits where, that's a certain amount of skill, being able to visualize your environment spatially. Musical intelligence. I mean, these people are gifted who have this ability to produce music. Bodily kinesthetic intelligence, like dancing, sport. It's not everybody's cup of tea. It's a special kind of intelligence that some have and are able to develop. I love the next 2. Interpersonal intelligence. That includes like emotional intelligence, where we are able to relate to other people. Now, a lot of people lose their jobs because they don't have this kind of intelligence. They don't have emotional intelligence. So they don't know how to get on with other people. So it's a very special kind of intelligence to be able to communicate properly and to get on with people, to understand them, to see what we can, how we can fit in. And then there's the intrapersonal experience, and not everybody has that. It's the ability to be self-aware, to understand yourself, to know what your weaknesses are, to know what your strengths are, what you can change, what are your interests, who are you, who am I? That's our intrapersonal intelligence. And then you have naturalistic intelligence, which is understanding patterns in nature. So the point is, there are different kinds of intelligence. What is yours? And we can develop our intelligence by our environment. But if we really just sit on a couch like a couch potato and we don't put an effort in, we might not develop to our full potential. So I hope that this session has been interesting to you, and I think it leads nicely into our next session, which is going to be about how the brain works. Because if we don't know how our brain works, we're not going to know how to study. And this information is critical because it will tell you how to go about things and to maximize the learning experience. Anyway, I hope that this helps you to see that just because you can't do one thing doesn't mean you can't do another, and it doesn't mean you can't develop it. We all have so much potential, and it would be sad to go through life and never find what that potential really is. So I hope that this course is helping you, and I look forward to our next session on the brain. So, see you next time. Thank you. Bye.